Morning, folks. So it's about 8:30 on Sunday morning. I am very tired. I'm trying not to yawn in your faces. I'm waiting for a lift. We are going to a board game day. Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. So first things first, we got to move away Mr. Groot here. Sorry, sir. As part of this board game day, I have chosen to teach Spirit Island. And if you haven't heard, Spirit Island was forged in Olympus by the gods themselves. Next up, I'll be picking up my newly printed business cards. You got to spend money to make money, yo. And I still don't know why I do this to myself. I always forget my glasses. Here we are. Computer enhanced. Much better. And next up, we have some essentials for any board game day. Some breath mints you will be talking to folks very close. Please make sure your breath is good. And some deodorant. Please, folks, you must wear deodorant. This is very important.
Even if you can't smell yourself, other people can.
Sorry about that. Woosah and spray and breathe out and relax and better. And now for the final pack, we have the deodorant, we have our business cards, we have our breath mints, we have the game of games, Spirit Island, which I'm very excited and a bit nervous to teach. And that's it. Except for one more thing. Now that we are all ready to go, where are we going exactly? Well, we are going to the board game day, and this is hosted by Zarnia and the Board to Be Wild team. Now, who are Zarnia? Well, Zarnia Games and Geekery is a fantastic bunch of content creators that focus on giving you the best insight into all the games and all the geekery that you could ever want. What's the most gamey and the most geekery you could get? Well, it's board games, of course. And that's where Zarnia has their Board to Be Wild segment, and this is hosted by Adhil and John. The two co-hosts do a great job sharing their passion with the viewers, and I do suggest you check out the channel if you have any interest in the board game hobby. I'd like to give a special thanks to Adhil because without him this board game day would have not have happened. He did such a great job organizing and planning the event. And speaking of the event, we better hit the road. We're going to be late. Just going to put on some road trip music if you guys don't mind. We're finally off. It was a great sunny day. We can see Table Mountain there in the background. Couple cars. That guy's speeding. Hey, that guy was definitely speeding. The car was full of high spirits and laughs as we looked forward to playing some board games. And I was not expecting the last leg of this journey to be taken by helicopter. But here we are landing at the Ron de Bosch Sports Club. And if you look at it closely, it does resemble the Avengers Tower from the Marvel movies. Foreshadowing, methinks? Jokes aside, it's a fantastic venue with great food and drink. We had made it to the promised land, and I could already see a lot of games set out on the table. Hey, look, there's a deal. He was going through the agenda with everyone for the day, and I spotted some board games, so I quickly scootled over there to have a closer look. Board games. These shrink-wrapped beauties were the ones for sale, but there were a whole bunch of other board games that were just lying around, waiting to be played and some to be raffled off. But I had to push those beauties from my mind as it was time to teach Spirit Island. I found a table, set everything up, and said hi to the players I'd be teaching. Spirit Island is a complex and thematic cooperative game for 1 to 4 players about defending your home from colonizing invaders. The fun thing about this is you each get to play as this powerful spirit of nature, each with their own set of unique powers and abilities. I took my team through the story and basic rules and then gave them a chance to chat about their first moves while I went to go see what other board games were being played. I heard some laughs and headed towards a game I didn't recognize. It was Molly House. In this 1 to 5 player game, players take the roles of gender-defying mollies of early 18th century London, throw grand masquerades and cruise back alleys while evading the moralistic constables who seek to destroy your community. And remember to be careful because there may even be informers in your midst. From what I could tell, it seems like a semi-cooperative game where your allies might turn against you if they aren't keen to share that victory. Sounds like a gay old time. What is that noise? Am I going mad? You guys can hear it? Oh, of course, it's Clank. Well, not just any Clank, it's Clank Catacombs. A new iteration of the beloved Clank series has been revealed. And you know what else has been revealed? These dungeon tiles. That's right, Clank Catacombs introduces a dungeon crawling aspect where you are slowly revealing the dungeon as you go. A nice twist to a solid formula. Explorers beware, you're in for a scare. Shut up! Who is making that noise? Back at Team Spirit Island, there was a slight hiccup. I did a poor job explaining the elements feature. I gave it another shot and this time it clicked. The team looked more determined than ever. Another weird noise. It was definitely coming from this game. Looks like Ticket to Ride mixed with Catan. I was told that players begin with a single vehicle and invest in more, extend their route network, welcome new arrivals into the city, contribute to the city's growth by adding new locations, and operate their transport lines. I was told that the vehicle in question is a bus, and it is a pick up and deliver style game where you are in charge of a bus network. And the game comes to us all the way from the prehistoric year of 1999. Turning around, looking right behind me, I spotted a game I recognize. It's Harmonies, a game I really enjoy, but unfortunately have never had the pleasure of winning. In Harmonies, you are drafting small colored tokens to help build your own little landscapes. Each landscape has their own scoring mechanism, and better still, plan far enough ahead, match the patterns correctly, and your landscapes can become habitats, hopefully enticing animals to come chill with you and award you end game points. I saw a huge crowd of people, 9 players, playing Stationfall. Imagine a dozen or so random humans, robots, and none of the aboves, each with their own abilities, goals, and secret relationships, all running around a space station that is on its way to crash land back into Earth. Well, that's the theme of Stationfall, with mechanics such as hidden roles, asymmetric information, and variable player powers, added to the fact that it is 9 players. This sounds like a game I'd be interested in trying out. And then something strange happened. I decided to stop looking at the board games and rather take a look at the folks who are playing them, showing them off, or just standing around. What I noticed was there were a lot of folks who were champions of this hobby. People who might be considered heroes within the niche. Maybe more than heroes. Maybe superheroes? So I'd like to take a quick moment and run through a few of the board gaming superheroes I was lucky enough to meet. And we start as we should with Adhil, who I've already mentioned before, the man who made this whole board game day possible. As I've hinted at before, Adhil is very much invested in this hobby, and he does whatever he can to spread that infectious joy to as many folks as possible. You can see this on full display whenever he is hosting a Board to be Wild segment on the Zarnia Games and Geekery channel. But it goes so much further than this. He has hosted talks at Comic-Con. He has done game reviews with many of the folks and superheroes we are going to see going forward. I'd also like to note he's done a great Pecha Kucha talk all about board games that I'll link and hope you guys give it a watch. It really is good. Once noting that Adhil is a great inspiration and champion of this hobby, I knew there had to be more heroes around, so I kept my eyes peeled and I started searching. Snuff, 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 what's that I smell? It's the lovely smell of board games. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Fanaticus board games. I should have known. One of the most beloved friendly local game stores in the country. And if Fanaticus has a stand here, then you'll be sure to find there he is, Zach. Zach has been running Fanaticus in some shape or form for more than a decade. Board games, card games, dice games, role-playing, board game accessories, and more. Fanaticus Board Games has it all for you. Fanaticus Games is so much more than a board game store. It's a place where people can share their interest in their hobby. It's a haven for those who want to meet new friends. If you are looking for friendly people, informed advice, and a ton of games, look no further than Zach and the Fanaticus Games team. If you or your friends don't have any games to play, don't worry, they have a massive, growing library of demo games that you can pick up and play at your heart's content. More recently, Fanaticus has joined the Catan League network, where you can go and participate in league matches to hopefully one day make it to the international finals of Catan. Don't be shy if you're not sure how to play or if you're new to the hobby. The Fanaticus team are always there to help, support and guide new players. And even though you're joining as a beginner, you'll be leaving the clubhouse as an expert. Zach once said in an interview with Nat1 magazine that the focus of Fanaticus was not so much selling board games, but rather to build a community, to have a place where friends can meet and chat, to meet new people with similar interests or completely different interests. Most importantly, a place where you can have fun. The selling of board games was secondary, said Zach. If the people have fun, they'll end up buying board games anyway, and the shop will run itself. I think that's a great way to look at it. If people have a good time and want to share that fun with their friends and family, then I'm glad that places like Fanaticus exist, so I can bring that joy home and share it with my loved ones. Thanks, Zach. Keep up the awesome work. Now, taking a quick break from all these board gaming heroes, I spotted a few more games I didn't recognize. First there was Chu Han, a 2-player card game of dynastic intrigue set in ancient China before and during the Chu Han contention. Chu Han is a trick-taking, climbing and shedding game with special powers consisting of multiple hands. Freud never trusted board gamers. Too much projection onto wooden components, he thought. But now we can put that theory to the test with Unconscious Mind, a 1 to 4 player Euro-style game featuring worker placement, engine building, multiple rondels and cascading effects. As a member of Dr. Freud's society, you aim to formulate new therapeutic techniques, establish a practice, grow your clientele, and become Freud's most distinguished contemporary. To be real, Freud believed that victory points are a surrogate for unmet emotional validation. So, what does he know? Get out of my head! And speaking of emotional validation, how are Team Spirit Island holding up? Well, not so well. The players were now handling each of their spirits like pros, each leveraging their own special abilities for the team's betterment. But it was a little too late. The invaders seemed to have overwhelmed them and the island was looking very close to destruction. It might be pessimistic to say, but I don't think it's going to work out in their favor. And now let's hop to another island, the island of Catan. Catan can be hailed as the catalyst for all modern board games. A 3 to 4 player game where you play as settlers trying to be the dominant force on the island of Catan by building settlements, cities and roads. Sorry, can we stop the footage right there? Can we go back a bit? I just want to double check something. Sorry, I know this is annoying. There, stop. I knew it. Looks like we found our next board game hero. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Jacques, the South African national Catan champion for 2024. Jacques used his skills, wit and trading prowess to earn the right to represent his country at the 2025 Catan World Championship in Stuttgart. This Catan legend doesn't only play the game, he lives for it, he eats it for breakfast, and is not above sharing his love for the game with anyone that is keen to learn. As a matter of fact, as I'm recording this, he is hard at work at Comic-Con Cape Town 2025, teaching as many people as he can about the awesome game of Catan. I hope those folks appreciate that they are being taught by one of the best Catan players in the country. I was lucky enough to see Jacques' last game of Catan for the day, and it was amazing to see how Jacques knew exactly what his opponents were going to do before his opponents even knew. It was great to see a pro at work, and then I spotted this fella. Now this gentleman's aura screamed design, so I kept a close eye on him and Eureka! I knew it. A new board game has been found. But before we take a look at that board game, let's meet its creator, Nabeel. This board game hero not only designed the game, but did the art himself as well. So what is 33? Well, it's a trivia-style party game where there's a twist at every turn. Your position on the board, the number of players, the penalties you receive, or even the amount of time you get to answer. Each of these and more could change round by round. This means that no matter how far in front you are, you're still never completely safe. If you're interested in learning about Nabeel's journey to creating his own board game, you're in luck. He was invited to the Gen C podcast by JP and Razan, where they had a great discussion about the struggles that Nabeel faced creating his own board game and how he pushed through those and found success. And I also suggest you go visit the 33 Board Game Instagram page, where you'll find more information about the game, including screenshots and how to play videos. More importantly, you'll find details on how to pre-order for the next print run of the game. The first print run of the game completely sold out, so I suggest you place your orders ASAP. Thanks again, Nabeel, and keep up the great work. And now for something completely different. Come on folks, you sing along. It's time for another Birds on Board unboxing. Bing bonk. That's right, to the surprise of many folks who attended the board game day, we each got a little goodie bag. Each bag came with its own unique set of trinkets, and I thought we can go through them together. And let's start with these beautiful button badges. Woohoo! I love it. And while I struggle to get into Fort Knox here, who can we thank for all these doodads? Well, a few folks to be honest. First, we have Adhil, who organized many of the goodies as well as sourced some of the art. Next, we have his partner from Zarnia, Board to be Wild. It's John, who used his design skills to create many of the items you see here before you. But due to the law of three, we needed a third. We needed an X factor to get it all done. And that's where Chrissy comes in from Serial Happiness. Getting all the items printed, collated, and put in the bags together, this is exactly where Chrissy and Serial Happiness do their best work. And I'm not overselling it. These buttons are great. And look what we have next. Ooh, it's stickers for me. It was quite exciting to see what I got inside my goodie bag, as all the other folks got their own unique set of items. All the stickers and badges were different for every person, but they did all share that awesome board game theme. I mean, look at these dice. Chatting to Chrissy, she said that making things that let folks express their hobbies and fandoms for all to see is her passion, and it's why Serial Happiness was created in the first place. She mentioned that many folks in the board game hobby are introverts, and having something like a sticker on a laptop invites people to approach and start a conversation. Plus, it's always nice to have cool stuff. And speaking of conversation starters, here is my favorite sticker, the Dice Goblin. I'm not too familiar with Dice Goblins, but I am familiar with the Mind Goblin. If you aren't sure what that is, go ahead and ask folks in the comments, what is a Mind Goblin? We're done with the stickers now. Let's see what's next. The Ace of Clubs? Oh, no it's not. It's a business card from our friend Jacques at Fanaticus. Serial Happiness, helping you spread awareness of your brand. And by the way, how lucky am I to get the Ace of Clubs? I just need to collect 51 more Fanaticus business cards and I can play a game of solitaire. Hee. Enough joking around, let's see what's next. A pill? Some medicine? It's a pen? Oh, I could write such odes, such beautiful lyrics with this pen. Actually, thinking of beautiful sentiments, Chrissy also noted that tabletop games have literally changed her life. She has more friends than ever now thanks to this awesome hobby, and whenever Serial Happiness makes a sticker or badge for someone, she feels like she's pushing more of that joy of playing board games with others out into the world. And you know who else spreads joy? The Nat 1 magazine team, who included a 1-year free subscription in each goodie bag. Let me cover that up so you rats don't steal it. That's my ticket to the Ultimate Essay Tabletop RPG Scene magazine. A few final scratches, and what have we got here? A little meeple red, which usually signifies stop, but who can stop when you're scritching and scratching for goodies? And what's the opposite of stop? Well, it's the old MSN online fella. And if you don't get that reference, for shame. And we're down to our very last item in the bag. Huh? A blank card? Oh, I remember. We were supposed to take all the goodies we got and then decorate the card showing off our unique style. But if you count with me, 1, 2, 3, and use your imagination. Oh, how very peculiar. I wonder if anyone else saw that. Just to be safe, I suggest you subscribe while I pack up things. And yeah, that's it. A massive thank you to all involved who made this gift bag happen, especially to Christine and Serial Happiness. If you want to see more of Christine's work, you can go follow Serial Happiness on Instagram. Chrissy is ready to help you share your passion loud and proud. Remember, we care for the meeple only by sharing it. It has been a long day and I am starving. Time for some lunch. Wow, this smells great. And I'm not talking about the chips, I'm talking about this game. Look at that art. Go Dish? Don't mind if I do. This great looking game is called Go Dish, and that's all I know because we also have many games being playtested here. And speaking of, some of these games being playtested are further along than others. Let's look at Deck of Cards. This game is past the playtesting phase, pretty much complete, and is very soon going into mass production. Lucky for us, while we wait for the game to hit the shelves, the publishers have already put out loads of content and videos showing us what mechanics the game entails and how we can play, and better yet, how we can win. Originally designed for the Game Crafters VHS box design competition, this whole game fits inside a VHS box. A 2 to 4 player game featuring deck building, hand management, variable tracks, different ways to play with knockout, single lap, multi-lap championships. Definitely one to keep your eye on, folks. And speaking of keeping your eye on, look at this. Look what I've noticed. Go Dish and Deck of Cards have the same publisher? My detective pigeon sense is tingling. Computer, reduce the image scale ratio to expand the visual data intake perimeter. Ladies and gents, we got him. Another essay board gaming legend uncovered. Say hi to Piet, our next board game hero. Although a board game designer at heart, Piet is so much more. He created and owns Return Revolution, a board game publisher that offers many services to help aspiring board game designers get their designs out of their head and onto the table. Piet and team help with design and development, manufacturing, marketing and distribution, and so much more. But let's look at some of the games they help produce. Cupcakeien, Eendracht, Mark Macht Bedarf, Life as an Ant, Main Pickavane, and of course Homeport, the brainchild of Piet himself, the game that kicked off Return Revolution. And that's not even half the games that Return Revolution Revolution have had a hand in helping to produce. Remember, many of these games are still going through their design process, and you can find out all about their progress on returnrevolution.co.za. As well as this, that's right, Return Revolution has its own Instagram, where Piet himself gives some awesome updates. And I suggest you go follow real quick, because Piet has a new series out called What Makes It Tick, where each week he takes us through the different board game mechanics, showing us why board games are so fun. If you're interested in hearing Piet's origin story, how he became a board game legend, he did a great interview with John from Zarnia, where he goes into detail about what could only be described as divine inspiration. I highly recommend you give it a watch, as it's a really interesting take on how great ideas can strike at any time. Return Revolution is a great asset to any aspiring board game designer who needs help anywhere within the process. And being both an artist and designer of board games, I'd say Piet is an asset to us all. Please keep sharing your love for the hobby, and I look forward to the next big release. And speaking of the next big release, look what I found over here. Another awesome looking board game busy going through some playtesting. Now I know what you folks are thinking. You're thinking,
What? That game looks amazing. It looks too good. Look at those components. How can you say it's going through playtesting?
and I'd reply to that with 3 points. Point 1. How dare you question my authority? This is Birds on Board, not Judge Judy. Back off with your questions, yo. Secondly, yes, I agree. These components are amazing. This prototype's production value rivals those of already released games. And my final point is my answer. This board game looks amazing because it is being designed by the next board game legend on our list. It's Jacques, aka Mr. Gold. So who is Jacques and what is this game he's making? Well, that's Warlab, and he's been going up and down the country playtesting as much as possible to make sure his first game meets those high quality standards he's set for himself. And so far, I think it's well worth that effort. Warlab, a game of tactical combat where cults, clones and machines fight for supreme power. A mid to high complexity game featuring deck building and combo maneuvers for 2 to 4 players. At Comic-Con Cape Town 2023, Jacques was featured in a panel about board game designs. This panel was hosted by Adhil from Zarnia, and Jacques spoke about his initial concept for the game and what inspired Warlab. He also mentioned that nowadays, the game has improved and transformed so much due to playtesting, it hardly resembles the initial concept. I really suggest you folks give it a watch, as it's a great insight into how an idea can evolve with time, especially given enough feedback. And speaking of feedback, I mentioned earlier that Jacques puts a lot of effort into playtesting. He's just returned from Comic-Con Cape Town 2025, finishing up his latest round of playtesting. And if you're interested to see how that went, as well as many more pictures and updates about Warlab, I suggest you go follow Mr. Gold Insta on Instagram. Jacques makes sure to keep the feed flowing with the latest Warlab news. And as we say thanks to Mr. Gold, I've got my own little piece of news, hot off the presses. Jacques has mentioned that Warlab is nearing its final stage of design and he's busy shopping around for publishers. So folks, keep your eyes on this space. Thanks again, Jacques. Keep up the awesome work. You know why most folks don't like dice? They don't like that they're static and aren't upgradable throughout the game. Well, those grumpy grumps haven't heard of Dice Forge. Dice Forge is a development game featuring innovative mechanics based on dice with removable faces. In this dice crafting game, players build their own dice. Now you control the luck of the dice. So far, the board game day has been a complete success, and it's only getting better. You see, it was time now for the lucky draw for some folks to win some awesome board games. There you can see Adhil shuffling the cards. So mesmerizing, such flourish, such grace, a lot of arthritis. And right in front of him, we can see Team Spirit Island. They've done extremely well to pull back from the jaws of defeat so late in the game, but with only 2 turns left, I don't have high hopes. While editing this, I noticed a gentleman appear in a lot of the footage, waiting for the raffle, playing Dice Forge. He even showed up on the panel with Jacques and Adhil at Comic-Con 2023. I needed to find out who he was, and boy was I lucky I did, because it was another great board game hero. It was Rob Acton, who started out as a board game designer years ago and has added publishing to his repertoire. The first game out of his publishing studio, Action Games, was Ambition, and it's a game I know quite well. There are 16 unique character cards, each with their own special powers, and the players must leverage these abilities to gain gold coins, otherwise known as tokens of power. The first player to acquire 10 wins. Rob himself sat down with Gareth from Frenzy Kitty Games and made a great how-to-play video that goes into detail with each character, showing off their unique quirks and how best to utilize them. It's a great game where hidden roles are changed each round, and you're each trying to get into each other's minds, trying to figure out what they think, you think, they think, you think. You can also go check out the Ambition review by Zarnia and Adhil. Here Rob goes into his inspiration for the game and talks about how he blended themes from previous games he loved to craft a new and unique world as the setting for Ambition. Rob has made great efforts to ensure that whenever there are willing folks interested in playing a new board game, that Ambition can be one of those choices. Rob noted that although he didn't plan it this way, Ambition lends itself to tournament play and has set up quite a few tournaments where folks have a great time learning the game and often want more. In 2019, Rob attended the Rage Expo. There he spoke to the Geekery 101 podcast about self-publishing board games in South Africa and how he started Action Games. And although Ambition is sold in friendly local game stores all around the world, Rob has taken steps to ensure that the main way you can get Ambition is via his home country. And in doing this, he's put a lens on South Africa, highlighting the amazing local talent we have both as artists and designers in the board game hobby. There was absolutely no reason for Rob to do this other than being just a great example of a board game hero. And the country is glad to have you in our ranks. And I think on that note, this is the perfect point to end our segment on Rob. Oh no, but we can't, not just yet. You see, Ambition was not the focus of Rob's visit to the board game day. Instead, we were lucky enough for him to bring the game he was busy playtesting. It was the City of Stains. I hope it doesn't sound like an exaggeration when I say this game is massive. The City of Stains is a competitive, immersive, asymmetrical game set in a dark fantasy city. The players take the role of completely different and unique political factions vying for control of the hearts and minds of the people of the city. It is extremely interactive, so by no means is this a Euro game, and its focus is on emergent storytelling and politics, both in theme and in gameplay. Initially starting out as a game called The City, Rob has been tweaking and perfecting this game over the last 10 years. Look how young past Rob is. What's great is that Rob has documented most of this journey, and we can see the game slowly evolved into the game it is today, the City of Stains. Actual playtesting has been a massive part of its evolution, initially playtesting with close friends and family, and then getting feedback from other designers in the board game space. As the gameplay gets tightened and becomes more refined, expert opinions within the industry become very valuable. Listening to and heeding constructive criticism from those who have already cleared the hurdles you are facing is a great way to make sure your game is mechanically as sound as it can be. And after getting feedback from his friends and family to confirm his own ideas, and then getting feedback from industry veterans to make sure the mechanics fit, one would think that Rob could now sit down and rest. He's gotten all the feedback that matters, right? Well, apparently not for this designer. Rob then went ahead and published the near-completed game in its entirety on Tabletop Simulator. He then recorded a 17-part video series acting as a tutorial guide to the game. Introduction, border components, setup, standard actions, even clarification and mistakes. In doing this, Rob had opened up both playtesting and the option to provide feedback to the most important critics of all, the players. Because if the board game isn't fun, what is the point? I thought this was an extremely smart and brave move of Rob, but looking at the reactions of the playtesters on the board game day, I think Rob's got himself a winner, one that's been 10 years in the making. The City of Stains is at the cusp of completion, and I'm sure many folks are counting the days till they see it on their friendly local game store shelves. And I think that's the perfect note to leave Rob and Action Games on. Hey, got some breaking news for you. So, there's another board game day coming up, and I went to go check the games being listed, and look, lo and behold, we had Rob Acton there. And this time there was a game I didn't recognize. This time it said Into the Beyond by Action Games. So I thought, okay, maybe there was a spelling mistake or a mistype or whatnot. So I went to go ping Rob, and I think it's easy if you guys just see it. So I saw Into the Beyond and I asked Rob, is that their game? He said, yeah, it says it's a new prototype. And I double checked if it's okay if I share the news with you folks. Yep, he gave me the nod, but mentioned there's no media out for the game yet. And then he noted that it was very early stages, but there were some mechanics that haven't already been locked down. And doing my best Rob impression,
it's a card-driven game in which the players go on fantastical journeys and swap points based on the stories they're able to tell when they reach the settlements. 1 to 5 players, 60 minutes, competitive, fantasy theme.
And now that we've seen the past, present, and the future of Action Games, I think we can finally sign off and say thanks, Rob.
And now we travel back in time to the golden age of Hollywood. Step right up, step right up. It's the board gaming event of the year. The most daring production ever attempted. It's Jacques, race to create outrageous low-budget films for release to the hungry audiences? Is it a western, a science fiction, or a horror movie? The choice is yours. Oh, sorry.
And who can we thank for this resource and word game? Well, it's our very own Rob van Zyl from Pleasant Company Games. Watching folks play as Rob taught the game was a real sight to behold. As you can tell, he's a real pro at this. But don't take my word for it. Here we can see Rob helping out with a Board to be Wild review. And while he's looking at Kemet, Adhil seems to be falling in love. And who could blame him? You see, it's not Rob he's looking at, but rather the board games that he helped produce. And while there are many things to love about the board games created by Pleasant Company Games, I'd imagine that most fans would agree that one of the biggest contributing factors is the art. And I chose my words quite carefully there because art is not too grandiose a term. Pleasant Company Games have a distinctive art style, and then recognition for this should be awarded to Rob. And while folks might think this is to be expected of a creative director, this is just one of the many hats that Rob wears within the company. And going to conventions and meetups to show off his upcoming games is another, and might be for Snowblind, Race for the Pole, a press your luck and risk management board game where you assume control of a group of polar explorers racing to be the first to return from the South Pole. Or it might be Conjure, a two-player press your luck dice and card game in which you and your opponent assume the role of a shaman wizard conjuring clouds. You'll need a combination of clever tactics, shrewd timing, and careful resource use, and a bit of luck to win the game. But by rolling dice and activating powerful spells and relic cards, players can gain gold, magic, power, and most importantly, clouds. Lucky for Rob, he doesn't have to do all the work. You see, because Pleasant Company Games have put out some internationally recognized games, there's always a chance that their games might be picked up for review by one of the bigger content creators. For example, here we see The Dead Eye, the 3D glasses solo adventure, being reviewed by Z Garcia from the Dice Tower. In The Dead Eye, you assume the role of a lone thermo bandit down on a hostile backwater planet. Your mission, find the next safe haven before you lose all hope and strength, and maybe, just maybe, find a way off of this desolate rock. Crafted as a pure solo game, it doesn't just have that awesome Pleasant Company Games art style. It's added the option to play the game with 3D glasses to really take you into another world. And I think this is the best example of using 3D to make another planet feel utterly otherworldly and contrary to our own. Ah, shut up, James Cameron. A well-designed, beautiful, and very unique board game. But don't take my word for it. What do you think, Z? That's right, it was given the Dice Tower seal of approval by Z Garcia himself. Approved! Now, if we take the success of his predecessors into account, I feel that Schlock is standing on the shoulders of giants. It has success built into its very DNA. And although I feel victory is inevitable, as Schlock goes through its final stages of playtesting, you have to remember one more reason the odds are stacked in its favor. It is being designed and published by Rob van Zyl and Pleasant Company Games. All the best, Rob. We're looking forward to it. Come on folks, we better hurry up. I still got some more board games to show you. Like this evergreen title, it's Space Base. A quick to learn and quick to play dice game using the core eye roll and everyone gets stuff.
We're closing soon.
Jeez, they're closing already. I better hurry. Here we have Forest Shuffle. Forest Shuffle is a great game. It's got this interesting mechanic where the cards you are playing. Here we have Rebel Princess. To be honest, I haven't heard of this game.
Last call.
Come on. Here we have Love Letter Batman. It's going to be very hard for you. Ow! Okay, fine. Last one. Just to the right of Love Letter Batman, we have 3 more games that I have to rush past. We have the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. We have Jekyll vs. Hyde. And we have Skull King. And even though there were loads and loads and loads and loads and loads more games to show off, there's just no more time. And what's worse is I'm not only missing out games, but I'm also missing out on showing off some more board game heroes. Take this Gen 4 example. You might recognize him from the very beginning of the video, and his name is Brett. Unfortunately, I missed Brett on the day and I didn't even get to say hi. And I'm sure he wasn't the only board game legend I missed. Brett started Board Game Bargain South Africa, a store that helped local folks find good deals on great board games. But it has since grown into a massive community, website, Facebook group, spreadsheets, Discord servers, gaming calendars, and many different WhatsApp communities. It's currently one of the best resources for board gamers in South Africa, and it was all started by Brett. To the board game heroes I missed on the day, including Brett, I apologize, and I hope to see you at the next meetup so we can high five till the sun goes down. And that's it, an end to a great day. And as I hopped back into my helicopter to start the long journey home, I started reminiscing about all the fun I had. I thought about all the fantastic board games I saw being taught and played and won and lost, but always enjoyed. I thought about all the local board game legends I met and how they helped champion this awesome hobby and how I harassed them for photos and comments. I also remember feeling a sense of belonging, surrounded by a whole bunch of nerds who just enjoy throwing dice. Except for me, I was super cool. Being presented with an amazing gift bag after I just expected to come play some games was a massive surprise. I got to meet designers, artists, influencers, champions, enthusiasts, and folks that just love the hobby so much. Now, before I forget, there might be a question that some of you folks are asking. Whatever happened to Team Spirit Island? Well, I'm happy to report that they turned things around and absolutely destroyed those invaders, winning the games like the champs they are. In the last few turns of the game, they stopped playing like 4 individuals on a team and instead started acting like a cohesive unit. Instead of 4 separate unique spirits, there was one large spirit with different powers spread across the island. #proud. Now, on a more serious note, I do know that this hobby of ours has been going through some turmoil with all the talk about tariffs. I can understand why some folks feel the hobby has lost some of its spark and actually might need saving. But after this board game day, I had an epiphany. If you want to save the hobby, just look around. The heroes are already here. And to you at home, every time you buy a new game, teach a friend, play a session or 2, or even just hit play on a silly board game video like this, you're not just a fan, you're another hero in this story. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. I've been Pigeon. This has been Birds on Board, your home of board gaming excellence. If you've liked any part of this, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And remember, you're more than a player. You're part of the reason this hobby has a future. Cheers all. Take care.